Meantime, the United States is reportedly dispatching top officials for talks aimed at negotiating a truce in Gaza that will involve a release of hostages. Reports say that CIA Director William Burns will head to Europe in the coming days to try and broker what could be the second deal in this now months-long conflict. He's expected to meet Qatar's Prime Minister and his fellow spy chiefs from Israel as well as Egypt. The officials were closely involved in last November's week-long truce that led to the release of more than 100 hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Israeli authorities say 132 captives still remain in Gaza. On the ground, Israeli forces say that they are still engaged in intensive battles in the heart of Khan Yunis, with forces striking infrastructure from the air and from the ground. The human toll across the Gaza Strip is also rising. The enclave's health authorities say that the death toll has passed the 26,000 mark since this war began. The UN's Human Rights Office says that cold and rainy weather has also made Gaza completely uninhabitable. Adding to the worsening situation is the dwindling supply of basic necessities like wheat and flour to make bread.
قصة الأكل هذه صارت صعبة إحنا بنصمد لكن أولادنا الصغار هذول بدهم يشوفوا الصغار كل حين بده خبزة طالع نازل بده خبزة من وين تجيب له الحين ولما بشوفها ناشفة برميها يعني القمح هذا بتسخنه وترجع بتلاقيه نشف.
Aid agencies say Israeli checks are hampering aid deliveries into the Strip, but Tel Aviv has denied these accusations. Meantime, families of captives held in Gaza and other protesters are also holding up the passage of these supplies. Israeli news outlets say that demonstrations at the Israeli-controlled Kerem Shalom crossing are continuing for a third day in a row, blocking the entry of humanitarian aid into the besieged enclave. For more, Sarah Coates joins us. She is live for us from Tel Aviv. Sarah, we know that Israel has asked the court at the ICJ to reject the case that South Africa brought entirely. How has Israel reacted to these hearings so far?
Hello there, Dawn. Well, look, people are very angry. They say that this case is grossly distorted, saying that Israel has absolutely every right to defend itself after the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust. We do need to remember that that was Hamas that perpetuated this attack on October 7, killing many, many people. And Israel says it now finds itself in a position where it once again has to defend itself. Now, we do know that Israel's case, its defence here, really rests on the definition of genocide itself, and that is the intentional destruction of a people in whole or in part. And look, the key word here is intent, and this is why we saw Israel declassify more than 30 documents just yesterday showing that it has done everything in its power to protect civilian life inside the Gaza Strip. And look, we have been hearing from the military time and time again that they've been telling people to move to safer ground, to move to these so-called safe zones, although people in the Strip say there is simply no place safe to go. So, look, there is certainly a lot of anger here. And just a matter of hours ago, Israel's carrier airliner El Al, it actually announced that from April 1st, it would no longer be flying to South Africa. It didn't say that this was because of the case brought against Israel. It said that this was due to dwindling passenger numbers. But look, we have also heard from the Prime Minister in the lead up to all of this. He says that no one will stop us, certainly remaining defiant. So many people, of course, around the region bracing to see what this outcome will be. Dawn.
Sarah, while we wait for those deliberations and for that interim ruling by the ICJ, we're also seeing renewed efforts to broker another deal in this conflict. What have negotiators put on the table?
Well, look, there's certainly a bit of careful confidence, I think you could call it, Dawn, here in Israel. We're hearing now that this potential new deal could mean that there would be a 60-day pause in fighting. Now, during that time, there would be a gradual release of these captives. We do need to remember there are more than 130 Israeli captives that do remain in the Strip. This is ongoing now, or this will begin, I should say, this weekend between the CIA, the Mossad, Egypt's spy chief and Qatar's prime minister. We do need to remember that this was the team that really brokered this last deal that saw more than 100 captives released, although that was broken early December when the ceasefire was broken. But look, there is a lot of careful optimism here that this may, in fact, yield some results. And look, it comes as there's really mounting pressure on the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, to do everything he can to get these people out, with demonstrations continuing right around the country, one happening right now down at the Kerem Shalom crossing, that tri-border crossing with Israel, Egypt and Gaza, with Israelis blocking aid going into the Strip.
Sarah, thank you for that. Sarah Coates there in Tel Aviv.